He's a 3-time Grammy Award-winning virtuoso guitarist with a cadre of collaborators ranging from Frank Zappa to David Lee Roth. He's graced the silver screen as Jack Butler in the movie Crossroads and made important technological contributions to the electric guitar with the invention of the Ibanez JEM. His name is Steve Vai. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
So let's just jump right into it with your signature Spark Mini here.
Got it. You know, I always like to have some kind of a rig or something that I can just rehearse, practice with backstage, something I can throw in the luggage. And usually there are these little kind of units that you put the headphones in, but you can't really hear it. And I was looking for something that was kind of small, portable, that sounded good, you know? And I found this, not this particular one, but this one, yeah. And it just works so well. You know, it's easy. You know, there's nothing really complicated about it. It's got 4 presets, and you can have music playing via Bluetooth, or you can pipe music into it that you can play to. It's got the 2 volumes for the music and for your guitar, and a lot of little quiet accoutrements that are very powerful, such as the app that comes with it, where you have myriad amplifiers, effects, things like that you can create your own presets with. And then they have AI capability, believe it or not. And this was something I only recently discovered because it's new. And it was just fantastic. I was using it. And I actually got a few more because I wanted to have one backstage. I mean, every day I'm on this thing backstage. And another nice thing is you can put headphones in, so you don't have to bother anybody. And it plays back all the jam loops and everything while you're listening. And I have one in my luggage for my hotel, you know, so when I get to my hotel room, I pop right there, ready to go. And I have one on the bus. Because I was really digging it so much, Laura asked if I'd be interested in maybe creating a little model that's like a signature series with little, you know, Vai fairy dust sprinkled on it.
Spice of Vai.
Spice of Vai.
Yeah.
So you get things like the burgundy color. It was so great. I loved, whenever I do something like this, I have an opportunity to dress it up. And it's always fun, you know. And I always loved this rich burgundy color. And this mandala design is something that we created, or actually Ibanez folks that built the Hydra built this piece it's like a shield, and it's built into the Hydra, and we made a logo sort of out of it. And, you know, it's very smart looking with the contrasting colors. And I just really like it. You know, it really works.
What inspired the preset names? You're the first artist to ever get to rename the hardware presets.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, that was a nice honor. Usually for me, the 4 kinds of tonal dimensions that I use are very, very clean as I can get it. A little bit of grit, you know, that bluesy kind of a sound. And then that'd be the second sound. The third sound that I like, the tone is more like a scruffy rhythm sound. Kind of a little heavy, you know, a lot more distortion. And then there's the solo, which is just like, you know, hellfire, you know.
Hence the name.
Yeah.
Fire.
So I thought, well, okay, I got to name these. So I used fresh, mild, hot, and fire.
Sounds like a salsa bar.
Yeah.
At your local Mexican
Eat
restaurant.
your lunch on that.
I'm hungry now.
Yeah.
So your guitars are as distinctive as your playing style, and obviously the visual element is such a big part of your expression and your artistry. What design elements do you consider essential when it comes to designing a piece of gear that complements your music?
The thing that I like to have in the gear that I work with people on is it's got to sound good. It has to have good components. And it also needs to be very simple when you go to touch it. But I also like to have the opportunity to look under the hood and really get in there and get forensic with the preset. You know, I want to change the delays. I may want to put a flanger, different amps, different cabinets. I mean, this thing allows you to do all that. So I like the way the surface of any piece of gear is easy, user-friendly, intuitive. And then it's always fun to play with the aesthetics. You know, I'm a little bit of a artistic kind of a guy, so I like to fool around with whimsical stuff.
Yeah, I
I
think
like my guitar playing.
yeah, I think it's a beautifully realized design.
Yeah, I like it.
With music and technology evolving significantly over the years and throughout your career, how do you see the Spark Mini, for example, fitting into kind of the modern guitarist toolkit?
Until you can make something that's invisible, that works, you're going to need an amplifier. You know, I mean, if you're a guitar player and you got an electric guitar, you're going to have to hear something. So I can't really see this kind of a thing fading away very quickly. You know, the other technology comes, you know, but I haven't seen anything yet that's just simple and easy and sounds good. Yeah, maybe it exists, but
Coming soon, the Spark implant.
Spark implant.
Spark telepathy.
Yeah, you just got to have a spark of an idea and it's there.
Yeah. So when I think of like back to Passion and Warfare and just the breadth of guitar tones on that record, and on any other record for that matter, but I just think of the sheer variety of tones. What is the process of when a piece of gear actually becomes almost an instrument in its own way, as far as the way that it influences your sound, but also what you would play and what you'd be able to create artistically?
I've been touring professionally for 44 years. So in the beginning, when I was in like 1980, none of this stuff existed. I mean, we didn't even have cell phones. And that's, you know.
Did you have a car phone?
Not until they came out. Special effects, gears, we had foot pedals, stomp boxes have been around since the dinosaurs, you know, and it was right around that time that digital gear started to emerge, at least in my world, for the guitar. Of course, the, you know, Lexicon had all these studio pieces that some guitar players would put into their rig, but they were too expensive for me. So one of the first pieces of gear that came out was Roland, and it was the 3000, the SD 3000. But these units back then just did one thing, really. So I got a couple of those, and eventually companies started to create multi-effects units where you can have multiple effects, chorus, pitch.
Like Stage 3000 that you had an influence on.
Yeah. And then when Eventide made the H3000, I was sort of a part of that design, and it's good to talk to guitar players that use this stuff to see what is needed. Yeah, so that turned out to be great. Now, what I noticed is the kind of effects that you're using, I know for me at least, is they're very joined at the hip with what you end up playing. So there's been in the past various songs that I've written just based on the effects. Like when I was in Alcatraz, there was a song, God Blessed Video, and Dave Roth's Skyscraper, the song Hina, where I created these echoes that, you know. So that's, you play against that and you're creating a piece of music from technology, so to speak. And just the ability to manipulate the guitar signal into tapestries, oceans of sound, that definitely has an effect on what you write and what you end up, you know, recording.
Does it surprise you how accessible some of that technology has become in products like the Spark Mini? Or I wonder how many Vai signature Spark Minis you could buy for the price of one Lexicon.
Yeah, these days, right?
Yeah.
It's so interesting how technology changes and the price changes. I remember when computers first came out, Hun computers, you know, they come with like 12 megabytes, and that was big, you know.
It's like one photo on an iPhone now.
Yeah. And I remember when the first drives came out, external drives, it was a 1 gigabyte drive that came out. And it cost $4,000 for 1 gigabyte. Now you can buy a gigabyte for a penny, less, you know. So, you know, the one thing that I noticed, one of the things I notice about us humans is we're always striving for two things: quality and convenience. We want it and we want it to be great, and we want it now. You know, and rightfully so. We're the humans, you know.
We deserve it.
We deserve it, but we got to build it, you know? And, but that's on our mind. And the evidence of that is just in the past, the evolution of technology. And that holds true in all sectors, in the music business especially. So I've seen the evolution of guitar technology for, the last 45 years. Well, longer. I've been playing for about 50 years. So, and it's great. It gets better.
So we're really hearing it from the source here.
Well, one of them.
Yeah. The man himself. So speaking to that, witnessing the technological advancement and you yourself being such a part of that innovation as a player, a technician, and even with the technology, how does your signature Spark Mini kind of embody that? And what do you foresee as like further technological advancements in the world of music and guitar?
When we use the word technology, it sounds complicated, but in reality, for me, when technology is used to simplify your life, I like that. I've toured with a lot of great guitar players, and they all have different kinds of warm-up rigs. Sometimes they bring combos and stuff like that. Sometimes
my back hurts just hearing that.
Yeah, little headphones and into a little box. I want to introduce them to this because it's much better. Where it's heading, I don't know. I still can't see how it's going to change the need to plug into something and hear it, have it sound good. Unless, of course, it's part of some kind of things you put on your head.
Oh, like a VR guitar headset?
Like VR, but not just for guitar, your whole world, and you just think, I want to play guitar. And you grab a guitar and you hear it, and there's nothing.
You're talking about like the reduction of friction. Like it's about closing the gap between the desire to play and the ability to play and to sound good playing.
Yeah. It's always good to have something that at least tells you what's going on with your fingers.
Yeah.
As opposed to something that's so processed, it's hard to know. It's interesting because sometimes certain things that evolve into the future still retain their authentic kind of look or functionality. I like feeling things, plugging them in, turning the knobs,
Yeah.
and going, oh, okay. And if I like it, I can go, okay, let's save that,
Having a tactile experience married with the innovation, with the capabilities and the opportunities that the technology presents, but still having something that you can get your hands dirty with and have that kinetic experience as a musician.
Well, I'll tell you, there was one sort of aspect of new technology that I thought about because you're always asked the question, what do you think of AI? What is it going to do to
But we didn't have to ask you what you thought about AI.
Well,
we had to capture you using it.
Yeah, but this AI, I remember thinking, well, how would you use AI? And I started thinking compositionally, like when you're composing or you're writing music. I thought, there's a big, deep hole you can jump into there with AI and composition. And I thought, well, what about the recording process? I haven't really, it might exist. I don't know what AI could be used for in the actual, this kind of gear or recording. I'm sure people are going to think of all sorts of things. But in the back of my mind, I thought, how cool would it be to be able to have tones built? I never verbalized. It was just one of those things, AI for amplifiers. What do you do with it? And I thought, well, maybe if it can figure out how to build guitar sounds or something. But it was a fleeting thought. And here we are. You guys bring me the amp and you say
I have to break it to you. I'm getting this from upper management right now. They actually read your mind in creating Spark AI. Positive Grid's put in your thoughts.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's probably in the collective. It might have started from them or anybody, and but it was just one of those thoughts. But then you guys showed up and you said, check out this button. And there it was. You hit a button and you say any kind of phrase based on a guitar tone, and it goes into its myriad amplifiers, and effects, and it builds a sound that it believes is, works with the direction you gave it. Yeah. And I'm thinking in my mind, yeah, okay, great. It's a nice idea, but does it work? And I believe it. I started giving it all these weird phrases and different sounds, and it just came back, and it was really great. It really worked great.
You said that you're sure people are going to figure out all sorts of ways to continue to push the envelope with AI or other technology. Are you relieved that the torch is being passed, or are you done innovating, or do you have more to give in that regard?
I don't know. I didn't know anything that I've done that may have been considered innovative. I didn't know I was doing it, so you just,
were those things more for it? They were a means to the end, in the sense that those were the things that you needed to do logistically to achieve what you were trying to say artistically. It wasn't done for the sake of doing it. It was done because you had a need to express yourself in a certain way, and the technology needed to evolve to match that desire, that drive.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was very innocent on my part. Things like the JEM. When I designed that guitar, I wasn't famous or anything. I went to a little guitar shop in Hollywood, and I said, I want this kind of a cutaway. I want this many frets. I want this pickup configuration. And this was all stuff that, I couldn't find on guitars all in one, that I knew I wanted. Like I wanted 24 frets on it, with humbuckers in a Strat style body. And I wanted to be able to pull way up on the whammy bar, like go up a fifth or a sixth. And no whammy bars did that. You get a little, and I just looked at what was stopping the bridge, and it was just the wood and the body. So I hacked it out, and that was, you buy a guitar today and it's got that design in it. But
The floating bridge.
That was the first one, the floating bridge. It was the first real floating bridge.
So you actually did that.
Yes,
you pioneered that.
Yeah. So that was very innocent, though. I didn't say, oh, I'm going to do something that everybody's going to think is great. No, I wanted to pull up on the bar. That's it. So that's how everything evolves for me. Anything that comes as something new that I might develop with somebody, it's really first and foremost based on my needs. How do I want to use this? And so then you start talking about it, and you work with great companies, and you go through the little process of experimenting, and then it comes out and it's like, yeah, there it is. That's it.
Necessity is the mother of invention.
Yeah. So I don't set out to be innovative. It just, in some things, it just happens.
Speaking of mother of invention, I was going to ask this question, but I'm curious to kind of take a small detour. What is the most valuable lesson that Frank taught you? Not musical lesson, not guitar lesson, not about music, but what's the most valuable lesson that you learned from Frank Zappa, non-musical?
Keep your publishing.
That's a great answer.
That was the answer he gave me when I said, can you give me some great advice about being a musician? And Frank never minced words. He would never go into some kind of esoteric thing like I would. If a young kid asked me that, I'd be like, you got to play the music that you love. And I'd go into all this stuff. Frank just said, keep your publishing.
So looking back, what do you think the greatest challenge and therefore opportunity that the guitar has presented you with?
Yeah, the greatest challenge, I think, obviously, is the technique, developing the technique. The guitar is an infinite instrument. No two notes have ever been played the same. I mean, the same. They're like snowflakes. There's no two that are the same by any player, even the same players. And so it's a very wide instrument. You go to a piano and you hit a note, you know, and you get the note. But with the guitar, there's so much space. There's the dynamics that you can achieve, the phrasing. Phrasing is, there's nothing like it, you know, because of the way the notes bend and the way you can pinch them.
You're physically in touch with the instrument the entire time.
Yeah, and it flows through your body from one hand to the other, so it has to meet someplace, you know.
Elliot Easton said it's the DNA. He called it the DNA. He's like, it's just my DNA, you know?
Yeah, and every player has their own DNA. And that's one of the beautiful things about the guitar. It's specific to the player, you know. I mean, I've had that experience many times where I would play a friend's guitar that has a distinctive sound, like Brian May, Edward Van Halen, Satriani, all the Generation X guy. I mean, I've gone around, I've played Yngwie's guitar, Zach, Nuna, everybody. And it just sounds like me, you know? And when they play my stuff, it sounds like them, you know? It's interesting that way. Everybody carries the stamp of their own DNA. And then that's just the tone and the sound. You know, it's what you play, the melody that comes out of you. It's as unique as the amount of people that have ever touched the instrument. So I like that. You know, I like that the guitar has such a vast voice in it. You can really find a voice, because, like I say, it's a precarious instrument. You know, you can blow it too. You know,
it's really easy to make it sound bad. It's kind of like the violin.
Bad intonation, bad picking technique, you know.
Don't let that stop you from playing. We all have to sound bad to sound good.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to see what I sounded like when I started, watch me play lefty. I didn't tell anybody when I started playing the guitar because I was kind of shy that way. Because the guitar was such a cool instrument. If you played it, you thought you were really cool. And I didn't think I was really cool, so I never told anybody, you know. But I did enter a talent contest. And it was the first time I'd played in front of my classmates. And it was a big auditorium. And I played the Star Spangled Banner with my teeth.
Okay.
And
that's how to end bullying for good.
Yeah, it was like a gong show. And I won. It was the first time I won anything like that. And the prize was $50. Now, that was like so much money.
It's not bad.
Yeah, me and my friend Joe DeSpagni and all my greaser friends and my band, we took that money and we bought cases of quality beer.
I think it was beautifully said what you said about no note has ever been played the same way twice, even by the same player. They're almost like snowflakes in that way. What advice would you have as far as pushing your boundaries to an aspiring player that might be picking up your signature Spark Mini, looking to advance their own creativity?
Well, I think it's important to know that your imagination is infinite. It is. And that's your greatest tool. Your greatest tool for developing anything creatively is your ability to imagine it. And you're free in your imagination. There's nobody telling you you can't do something. Isn't that interesting? So once a person realizes this, the most powerful tool that you have is the ability to visualize. So everybody does it to a degree. You know, a lot of times they're visualizing tragedy. You know,
it's like daydreaming.
Yeah, it's like daydreaming in fear.
Well, to your point, the only thing that is holding you back, maybe in your imagination, is your own imagination. It's both sides of it, right?
It's the belief that you can't go there.
Yeah,
it's the only thing holding you back. And once you realize that that's just not true, then a person can allow themselves to reach deeper into their creative musings, you know. And when you visualize something, you actually visualize it. This is how I've developed my technique. I'll bring it to the guitar. My favorite thing to do is to try to imagine something that I couldn't do, which there was plenty of, but keep it within the range of stuff that I can't do, but I know I can get it. I know, you just know, and then do it. That was the greatest payoff. It still is for me every time.
So in that space of passion and spending those 8 to 10 hour days in the bedroom or the practice room, how many times did you just lose track of time?
Yeah. Time seems to vanish when your focus is strong on something. Everybody knows that experience of getting really into something and picking your head up, and it's hours later, because in that state you're very present. In a creative state where you're really on the move, the passion is flowing into what you do. It's like constant aha moments. Solutions are challenges turn into opportunities. The way
Intuitively speaking.
Intuitively, yeah. So this is, I think, our natural state. Unfortunately, many people don't find that thing in life that is that touches them, their creative instincts. I am a believer that everybody has a gift, some kind of a gift. It does not matter what your intelligence level is. Matter of fact, a high IQ gets in the way. It can. Conceptualizations, that can really just
kind of outthink yourself from taking action to pursue something that I think pursuing creative things, it can be a little scary. You have to if you have a really strong IQ and you're very logical, it actually kind of works against you from giving yourself over to the process.
Well, within us, there's an egoic perspective, which nothing is ever enough. You're never good enough, or you're better than everybody else, or there's fantasy future, I tell a story like, I meet kids that are, they want to be elite rock guitar virtuosos, but they have a tin ear and they don't want to practice. So that will require a tremendous amount of painful discipline to be able to develop your ears and develop your fingers. And unless the desire is there, the real desire, not the fantasy of having something that then you are worthy of the perspective of the world. You have made it, you're famous, you're considered great, everybody knows how great you are. It gives a person a false sense of security. Mm-hmm. They build security based on how much they're approved. So it doesn't really work, What works is when you find within yourself the thing that is that feels good to you, creatively feels good to you. You feel comfortable in your skin. You're not judging yourself. You're not in fear that you're going to fail. So in the state of presence, and it's a meditative state in a sense because it requires focus. And when you talk about meditation, I kind of break it into two categories. There's the meditation of going within, which you can study and you can experiment with. But then there's the meditation, the doing of things, when you're actually doing things, but you're focused. Your mind isn't in the past. It's not in the future. It's not lamenting the past or fearing the future. Mm-hmm. It's beautifully engaging in something that feels satisfying and fulfilling while you're doing it. And this is something that I believe everybody has at their disposal. There's something in everybody that seems natural to them. It could be cooking, it could be organizing, it could be bricklaying, because it's not based on intelligence. It's based on your ability to say, I got that. I know what to do. it's almost like, how come nobody else can figure that out? I'm not a smart guy, but this is it's a calling. And you have to navigate through the insane voices of the world that tell you that you doing that is not good enough. We need that. Because what happens when you find your little or big, there is no little or big. Everybody's calling is big. So when you find that and you engage in it, you are giving the world something of value, because there's a quality that flows into what you do when you're loving doing it, when it feels good, when it's flowing. And it grows. You don't want to stop. And this is what we need in the world, really. Imagine that. Yeah. What we need is for you to do what you love doing.
Saying the passion ignites the work that it takes, the discipline to get there.
The quality of the work is joined at the hip with the passion that created it. It flows into it. There's an energy in that thing, whatever it is, And when people are creating things that they don't really want to do or they're not happy doing, that can show in the quality of the product too, So, and I believe why the illusion of time happens when you're in that state is because time is a mental concept. It's a psychological mental concept. Now, I know that seems extraordinary, but you can ask Einstein. He said it.
Relativity 101.
And you can just look around and observe the fact of it. So when you're connected with your flow, in that zone, everything flows. Challenges are welcomed. They're necessary. My passion is playing the guitar and writing music. Many people have that passion, but I'm in this unique situation now where I'm working on this music for King Crimson music as I'm doing this beat tour, and the guitar parts, Robert Fripp's guitar parts, are just incredible. I mean, they're phenomenal, and they're very well thought out, and they're very difficult. I don't have that style, but I thought, I know there's a way for me to do it my way and honor the notes, Now, because I believe that to be true, I have to find it. It's going to come. But if I say, I can't do that.
Well, then you can't do that.
Then you made up your mind about it. It was like, so your instinctual ideas will come to you. If you can see it, it's meant for you. So I use that. And I said, okay, get out of the way, shut up, and do it. You got this. You already saw that you have it. So you're safe. Now, it took, 6 weeks of 18-hour undisturbed days, but I knew I can do it. And I wanted to. That was the thing. It was like a burning creative desire.
Well, maybe the thing that you want now, you want it because your future self already has it. Now you got to do the work.
Yeah. I'm going to kick that guy's ass. I see. Making my life so hard.
Excellent.
But when anybody finds that and they just throw themselves into it, life is good.
Great. Steve, thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts and your wisdom with us.
Well, thank you. And thanks for this little gem.